We have seen the spherical cryogenic tanks, which is used to store the gas, which is used to store the petroleum or the crude oils, okay, petroleum products or the crude oils. So like that geometry, which are the bigger tanks. And in that case, our requirement is to reduce the heat flow inside that particular cryogenic tank, okay. And for that reason, we have to decide the sphere, okay. For that reason, we have to decide the size of sphere, thickness of a sphere, and what according to the requirement of a heat transfer, okay, how much allowable heat transfer is allowed inside the sphere, so or inside that particular cryogenic tank, okay. So that is the requirement, and for that reason, this particular general heat conduction in a spherical coordinates is useful, okay. So in the last lecture also we have discussed how one can locate the point in a sphere, or how one can find out the location of a point in a sphere, okay. So the coordinates required in a spherical coordinate system are r, theta and phi, okay. R, theta and phi. R is the distance from center of the sphere, okay. Sphere is having only one center, and the distance from the sphere center to that particular point will be considered as a r coordinate, whereas theta is nothing but what, if you project this point on a xy plane, okay, and if you join that projected point to the center point, okay, if you join that particular point to the center point, and the angle made by this particular line with the x-axis will be nothing but a theta, theta, okay. Whereas the phi is nothing but what, the line joining center and that particular point makes an angle with z coordinate, okay, or a vertical axis, okay, or a vertical axis. That particular angle will be considered as a phi. So by using r, theta and phi, we can easily locate any point in a spherical or in a spherical object, spherical coordinate system or a spherical object, okay. Now you don't have any kind of a derivation for the spherical coordinate system, so directly we are going to consider the general heat conduction equation in a sphere, okay. General heat conduction equation in a spherical object or in a spherical coordinate system. So that we have discussed in the last lecture, okay. So that this particular equation you have to remember, 1 upon r square sine square theta multiplied by double derivative of temperature with respect to phi plus 1 upon r square sine theta multiplied by differential with respect to theta of a bracket, and the bracket sine theta multiplied by differential with respect to differential of temperature with respect to theta, plus 1 upon r square multiplied by differential with respect to r of r square multiplied by differential of t with respect to r, square bracket complete, plus qg divided by k is equal to 1 upon alpha multiplied by dabba t divided by dabba small t, okay. So where this particular square bracket represent the coordinate axis of, or the coordinate system of, or we can say that the spherical coordinate system, okay. This particular square bracket represent the spherical coordinate system and the temperature change with respect to spherical coordinates, okay. Temperature change with respect to spherical coordinates. So second term is general heat we know that the qg is nothing but heat generation per unit volume per unit time, k is the thermal conductivity, alpha is the thermal diffusivity, dabba t divided by dabba small t is nothing but temperature change with respect to time, okay. So this is the general heat conduction equation in a spherical coordinates, okay, that we have discussed in the last lecture. If you are going to consider that in a sphere there is no heat source present and heat flow is steady one and one dimensional. So one dimensional we have to consider as the heat is flowing in a radial direction. Heat is flowing in a radial direction only. So that radial direction means what? From the center towards the surface of a sphere. Okay, from the center of a sphere towards its surface, from the center of sphere towards its surface. So that direction will be considered as a radial direction. Okay, that direction will be considered as a radial direction. Now here, if you are considering the heat flow is in a one dimensional and the heat is flowing only in a radial direction, in that case the variation of a temperature with respect to phi and variation of temperature with respect to theta, these two quantities will become a zero. Okay, or we have to neglect that two quantities. Okay, that variation we have to neglect in a one dimensional heat transfer. So once you neglect these two quantities, so only one part of this particular coordinate system will remain as 1 upon r square multiplied by partial differential of r square multiplied by dabba t divided by dabba r with respect to r. So that part only remain, and the remaining part as it is. Okay. Now, if you are going to consider that there is no heat source present in the element or in the sphere, then this particular QG term, which is dealing with the heat generation, so this term will become zero. And if you are considering the heat flow is steady, okay, heat flow is steady, so that we can have to consider that there will not be a temperature change with respect to time. There will not be a temperature change with respect to time. So we will get this dabba t with or change in temperature with respect to time term as a zero. Okay. So our equation will be converted in case there are no heat sources present and heat flow is steady and one dimensional. So in this case, the equation, general heat conduction equation in a spherical coordinate system will get reduced into 1 upon r square multiplied by partial differential with respect to r of a bracket in the bracket r square multiplied by differential with respect to r is equal to 0. Okay, so that we have discussed in a last lecture. Now in the today's lecture we have to understand the heat conduction through hollow sphere. Okay, heat conduction through hollow sphere, and for that reason we have considered this particular diagram. Okay, we have taken the top view of spherical coordinate system. From the top view we can see the outer outer diameter or the outer circle of the sphere and the inner cavity, because this is a hollow sphere. Okay, hollow sphere, so there will be an inner cavity for the sphere. Okay, hollow means what? अंदर कुछ cavity रहेगी. Okay, so it will not be located or we can say that we cannot see that internal cavity, so that it is represented by the dotted lines. It is represented by the dotted line. So it shows that there is one internal cavity, or the sphere is hollow internally. Okay, so now this particular sphere is having r1 radius. Okay, internal radius is r1 and the external radius is r2. Okay, external radius is r2. Now internal surface is maintained at a T1 temperature and external surface is maintained at a T2 temperature. Okay, now heat is flowing from inner surface to the outer surface, because we are considering the T1 temperature, that is internal surface temperature, is greater than T2. Internal surface temperature greater than T2. So heat is flowing radially outward, because we are considering one dimensional heat flow only. So that we have to consider that heat is flowing radially outward. Okay, so that we have shown the direction of a heat flow. So Q, heat flow radially outward. Okay, heat flow radially outward. Now if you want to draw the electrical circuit diagram for this particular heat flow, so in that case we have to show the heat flow from inner surface to the outward surface, that is nothing but from T1 temperature to T2 temperature. So direction of a heat flow will be from left hand side towards the right hand side. Okay, and the for the flow of a heat, the resistance will be offered by the thickness of that particular sphere. Okay, resistance will be offered by the thickness of that particular sphere. Okay, so thickness means what? the difference between inner radius and the outer radius. Okay, difference between inner radius and outer radius. Now here for derivation purpose, we have considered one element of that particular sphere. Okay, spherical element we have considered. Now that particular spherical element which is placed at a distance of r from the center, and it is having thickness of a dr. Okay, it is having thickness of a dr. Okay, so let we have to consider that r1 and r2 is equal to inner and outer radii. Okay, r1 and r2 is equal to inner and outer radii, whereas T1 and T2 is equal to temperature of inner and outer surfaces. T1 and T2 are the temperature of inner and outer surfaces. Now we have to consider the one-dimensional heat flow in a radial direction. Okay, one-dimensional heat flow in a radial direction, and with no heat generation. With no heat generation. So we know that that particular equation in a spherical coordinate system. Okay, and it is equal to 1 upon r square multiplied by dabba divided by dabba, that is partial differential with respect to r of a bracket, that is r square multiplied by partial differentiation of t with respect to r, bracket complete, square bracket complete is equal to 0. Write down, everyone write down this. I think you have drawn the diagram, so write down this particular part. R1 and R2 is equal to inner and outer radii. Let us consider R1 and R2 is equal to inner and outer radii. T1 and T2, T1 and T2, T1 and T2 is equal to temperature of inner and outer surfaces. T1 and T2 is equal to temperature of inner and outer surfaces. T1 and T2 is equal to temperature of inner and outer surfaces. Consider one-dimensional heat flow. Consider one-dimensional heat flow in the radial direction. In the radial direction, consider one-dimensional heat flow in the radial direction, and with no heat generation, and with no heat generation. So in that case, we have to consider this particular equation, which is deduced from general heat conduction equation in a spherical coordinate system. Okay, and which is nothing but 1 upon r square multiplied by dabba divided by dabba r into bracket r square multiplied by dabba t divided by dabba r is equal to 0. Is equal to 0. Okay, so this equation is considered at a micro level. Micro level means what? For a very small element. Okay, for a very small element. Now if you are going to consider the larger body or the large element, okay, or if you are going to apply this particular equation for a complete object, so in that case this particular dabba or the partial differentiation will be converted into a complete differentiation. Okay, okay, so that the equation will be converted as, okay, from micro level to the macro level. Okay, this is applicable for the micro level, and we are using this equation for the complete body, or we can say that for the macro level. Okay, macro level or the larger object. Okay, so in that case we have to consider the equation as 1 upon r square multiplied by t divided by dr, or a differentiation with respect to r into bracket r square multiplied by dt divided by dr. Okay, dt divided by dr is equal to 0. Okay, write this equation. Now if you transfer this 1 upon r square, that is r square on the other side, okay, so, left hand side, from the left hand side r square, if you transfer to the right hand side, so 0 multiplied by r square, it will become a 0. So we will get the equation as differential with respect to r into bracket r square multiplied by differential with respect to differentiation of t with respect to r is equal to 0. Differentiation of r t with respect to r is equal to 0. Okay, what we have done here, we have just transfer this r square is equal to 0. In other term, we can say that 1 upon r square is never equal to 0. So that we are going to consider this particular term. Okay, 1 upon r square never equal to 0. 1 upon r square never equal to 0. So that this particular term will be considered as equal to 0. D divided by dr into bracket r square multiplied by dt divided by dr equal to 0. Okay. So we have considered this equation and we have to integrate this equation now. Okay. We have to integrate this equation. So integrate above equation. Integrate above equation. Integration, one integration, one differentiation will be cancelled. Okay, one integration will be cancelled, and the integration constant will be included in the equation. Integration constant will be included in the equation. Okay, so we get this equation after transforming one r square on the other side, and after integration, okay, we have to integrate this equation. So one integration, one differentiation will be cancelled, and the integration constant will be included in the equation. Okay, integration constant will be included in the equation. So write down integrate above equation. Integrate above equation. So integration of d divided by dr into bracket, or differentiation with respect to r of a bracket r square multiplied by differentiation of a t with respect to r bracket complete equal to 0. Okay, so this integration will be applied for the first derivative. Okay, first derivative. So the derivative will be cancelled and we have to include one constant of a proportionality, one constant of integration constant in the equation. Integration constant in the equation. So we'll get the equation as r square multiplied by differentiation of a t with respect to r. Okay, differentiation of a t with respect to r is equal to c1. Is equal to c1. R square multiplied by dt divided by dr is equal to c1. Okay, so this is the first integration constant, that is c1. Okay, further what we have to do, we have to rearrange the term so that it will easy for the integration. It will be easy for the integration. So rearrange the term, rearrange above equation, or we can say that it will be a variable separation. Okay, so variables are dt and dr. So these variables we need to separate so that it will be easy for the further integration. So r terms we have to take on one side and dt term on the other side. So we have shifted dr and r square on the another side. Okay, so then we will get the equation as rearrange above equation. Write down rearrange above equation or variable separation. Variable separation. So we have shifted r terms on one side and we have kept dt term or the temperature term on one side. So dt is equal to c1 multiplied by dr divided by r square. dt is equal to c1 multiplied by dr divided by r square. Okay. Now further, once again we have to integrate. Okay, once again we have to integrate. Okay, to remove the uh, the differential term, we have to integrate once again. Now integration of dt is equal to c1 integration of dr divided by r square. We have taken the c1 out of the integration because c1 is the constant. Okay, c1 is the constant, so we can't integrate this particular c1. So for that reason we have taken it out of the integration. So integration of dt is equal to c1 integration of dr divided by r square. Dr divided by r square. dr divided by r square. Getting everyone? Is there any question, any doubt? Okay. So what is the integration of dt? Integration of dt is t. And what is the integration of 1 upon r square? What is the integration of 1 upon r square? So for the simplicity, if you convert 1 upon r square as r raised to minus 2, okay, r raised to minus 2. So integration of r raised to minus 2 is r raised to minus 2 plus 1 divided by minus 2 plus 1, okay, r raised to minus 2 plus 1 divided by minus 2 plus 1, okay, that is the integration of 1 upon r square, 1 upon r square. Getting everyone? Is there any doubt, any question? Integration of 1 upon r square. Okay, integration of 1 upon x square. Simply integration of 1 upon x square is x raised to minus 2. Integration of x raised to minus 2. So integration of x raised to minus 2 is x raised to minus 2 plus 1, okay, whole divided by minus 2 plus 1. So it will become minus 1 upon x. It will become minus 1 upon x. Okay. So in a similar fashion, we have to integrate this equation. So we will get the integration of dt as t, okay, is equal to c1 into bracket minus 1 upon r. Okay. So integration of 1 upon r square is minus 1 upon r. Okay, minus 1 upon r. So c1 multiply by into bracket minus 1 upon r plus c2. So now we have to add the second integration constant. After second integration, we have to add the integration constant as a c2. Okay, we have to add the second integration constant as a c2. Okay, so that will be our equation number Roman 1. Okay, give this equation number as equation number Roman 1. So equation, we are getting the equation as t is equal to c1 into bracket minus 1 upon r plus c2. Is there any doubt, any question up till now? So then we have to consider the boundary condition. We have to consider the boundary condition to determine the constants c1 and c2. Now here our aim is to determine the constants c1 and c2. So to determine this constant, we need a boundary condition. Okay, boundary conditions means what? The extreme conditions of that particular object. Okay, so extreme condition means when when radius is r1. Okay, when radius is r1, at that time temperature is T1, and when the radius is r2, at that time temperature is T2. So that is our boundary condition, two boundary condition. So consider that particular boundary condition. Boundary conditions are nothing but when r is equal to r1, t is equal to t1, and when r is equal to r2, t is equal to t2. Okay, these are two boundary conditions we need to apply for this equation number Roman 1. Okay, and we have to determine the c1 and c2 constants. We have to determine the c1 and c2 constant. Okay, so apply first boundary condition for this equation number Roman 1. So we will get when r is equal to r1, t becomes t1. So t becomes t1 is equal to minus c1 divided by r1. R becomes r1 plus c2 and when r is equal to r2, when we are going to apply the second boundary condition, when r is equal to r2, t becomes t2. So apply the second boundary condition to this particular equation. So we will get the equation as t becomes t2 is equal to minus c1 whole divided by r becomes r2 plus c2. Okay, getting everyone? T2 is equal to minus c1 divided by r2 plus c2. Okay, so give this equation number 1 and this equation as equation number 2. Okay, now what we have to do further? Now from this two equation we have to determine the constant. Okay, so for that reason we have to eliminate any one constant and we have to determine another constant. We have to eliminate one constant and we have to determine another constant. Okay, so for that reason we have to do some mathematical operations on these two equations. Okay, We have to do some mathematical operation on these two equations. So after subtraction, equation 2 or equation 1 from 2, the C2 variable can be, or CT constant can be eliminated, okay, and only C1 constant will remain. So we are going to perform one mathematical operation as subtract equation 2 and 1, okay, subtract equation 2 and 1. Write down this: subtract equation 2 and 1, subtract equation 2 and 1. So T2 minus T1, okay, T2 minus T1, we have to subtract the equation 1 from 2, okay, we have to subtract the equation 1 from 2. So we can say that T2 minus T1, subtraction in a such a manner, T2 minus T1, okay, subtract equation 2 and 1, okay. So we'll get the equation after subtraction as T2 minus T1 is equal to minus C1 divided by R2 plus C2, okay. This is our part of first equation, minus C1 divided by R2. Second equation, that is minus C1 divided by R2 plus C2. Now minus, we are performing the subtraction, so the second equation will be minus of bracket minus C1 divided by R1 plus C2, okay, minus C1 divided by R1 plus C2, okay. So if you are taken this negative sign inside the bracket, then we will get the equation as this negative sign inside the bracket. This negative sign, if you take inside the bracket, or if you remove the bracket, then we'll get the equation as T2 minus T1, T2 minus T1 is equal to minus C1 divided by R2 plus C2 plus C1 divided by R1 minus C2, okay. Getting everyone? T2 minus T1 is equal to minus C1 divided by R2 plus C2 plus C1 divided by R1 minus C2, okay. So now plus C2 minus C2 will be cancelled, and we will get the equation as T2 minus T1 is equal to minus C1 divided by R2 plus C1 divided by R1, okay, minus C1 divided by R2 plus C1 divided by R1, okay. T2 minus T1 is equal to minus C1 divided by R2 plus C1 divided by R1. Everyone with me? Shall we move ahead? Now further, we have taken C1 out of the bracket, C1 common in both the terms, so that we have taken C1 common, okay. So we get the equation as T2 minus T1 is equal to C1 into bracket minus 1 divided by R2 plus 1 divided by R1, okay, because we have taken C1 out of the bracket, or C1 as a common from these two terms. Getting everyone? So next, we have to perform the cross multiplication for the inside bracket radius, okay. We have to perform the cross multiplication for the inside bracket. So T2 minus T1 equal to C1. Now R1 multiply with minus 1, it will be minus R1, and R2 multiply with plus 1, it will be plus R2. So plus R2 minus R1, okay, plus R2 minus R1 in the numerator, and denominator terms will be multiplied, okay, denominator terms will be multiplied. So we will get, after cross multiplication, we will get the equation as T2 minus T1 equal to C1 into bracket R2 minus R1 divided by R1 multiplied by R2, okay, R2 minus R1 divided by R1 multiplied by R2. T2 minus T1 is equal to C1 into bracket R2 minus R1 divided by R1 into R2. Getting everyone? Now we have to determine the C1. So for that reason, we have to convert this equation in the form of a C1. We have to convert this equation in the form of a C1. So we have converted this equation in the form of a C1 by shifting this bracket on the another side. Okay, by shifting this bracket on the another side. So we will get the equation in the form of a C1 as C1 is equal to T2 minus T1 in the bracket T2 minus T1 multiplied by R1 multiplied by R2 whole divided by R2 minus R1 whole divided by R2 minus R1. So we'll get the C1 value. Okay, C1 value. C1 is equal to T2 minus T1 multiplied by R1 minus R1 multiplied by R2 whole divided by R2 minus R1 whole divided by R2 minus R1. Okay, everyone with me? Is there any question, any doubt? Now further, we have to put this equation in equation number 1. Okay, we have to put this equation in equation number 1 to determine the C2 value or C2 equation. Okay, to determine the C2 constant. Okay, put C1 in equation number 1. Okay, put C1 in equation number 1. So we know the equation number 1. Equation number 1 we are getting after applying the boundary condition number 1. Okay, and after applying the boundary condition number 1, equation we are getting as T1 is equal to minus C1 divided by R1 plus C2 minus C1 divided by R1 plus C2. So put the value of C1. C1 is equal to this particular value or this particular equation of C1 in equation number 1. Okay, in equation number 1. So after putting the value of C1 in equation number 1, we'll get the equation as T1 is equal to minus, instead of C1 we are going to put this particular equation. So instead of C1 we are going to put this particular value as minus term as it is. So inside bracket T2 minus T1 bracket complete, R1 multiplied by R2 whole divided by R1 remains as it is R1. Okay, from this particular equation R1 remain as it is R1 multiplied by R2 minus R1. Okay, bracket complete plus C2 plus C2. Getting everyone? T1 is equal to minus in the numerator inside the bracket T2 minus T1 bracket complete multiply by R1 multiply by R2 divided by R1 into bracket R2 minus R1 bracket complete plus C2 plus C2. Now what is our aim? Our aim is to determine C2. Our aim is to determine C2. Okay. So for that reason, to determine C2, we have to transfer this particular term on the another side. Okay, this particular term on another side. Okay, on the left side we have to transfer this term and we have to convert the equation in the form of a C2. Okay, getting everyone? Now we have converted this particular equation in the form of a C2 because we have to determine the C2 value or C2 equation. So C2 is equal to T1 plus, okay, because here the negative sign is there for this particular term. So for that reason, if you shift this term on the another side, it will become plus. It will become plus. It will become plus. Okay, so we'll get the equation as C2 is equal to T1 plus C2 is equal to T1 plus T2 minus T1 multiplied by R1 multiplied by R2 whole divided by R1 into bracket R2 minus R1. R2 minus R1. R2 minus R1. Okay. So now we have determined the C1 and C2 values. Now we can put up this C1 and C2 values or the equation in equation number Roman 1. Our first general equation number Roman 1. In that equation, we have to put up the values of C1 and C2. Okay. Values of C1 and C2. So our equation number Roman 1 is T is equal to minus C1 divided by R plus C2. This is our equation number Roman 1. So in this particular equation, we have to put up the values of or the equation that we have determined for C1 and C2. Okay, that we have determined for the C1 and C2. So after putting C1 and C2 equation in equation number Roman 1, we will get T is equal to minus of T2 minus T1 multiplied by R1 multiplied by R2 whole divided by R multiplied by R2 minus R1. Okay. So this is the first term, minus sign as it is, and the C1 equation is T2 minus T1 multiplied by R1 multiplied by R2, and R as it is here divided by R2 multiplied by R1. Okay. Plus C2 equation is T1 plus T2 minus T1 multiplied by R1 multiplied by R2 whole divided by R1 multiplied by R2 minus R1. R2 minus R1. Getting everyone? Just we have considered the equation number 1, and whatever the values we have determined for the C1 and C2, we have put up that particular values or that particular equations in equation number Roman 1. Okay, and we'll get this equation. Okay. Now further, we have shifted this particular T1 on the another side. Okay, if you shift this T1 on the other side, so plus T1 will become minus T1. Okay, plus T1 will become minus T1. So we'll get the equation as T minus T1 is equal to the remaining equation as it is. Okay, T minus T1 is equal to minus of T2 minus T1 multiplied by R1 multiplied by R2 whole divided by R multiplied by R2 minus R1 plus T2 minus T1 multiplied by R1 multiplied by R2 whole divided by R1 into bracket R2 minus R1. Okay, getting everyone? Is there any doubt, any question? Now further, in this particular equation, in this particular two terms, T2 minus T1, R1 multiplied by R2 and whole divided by R2 minus R1. Okay, these three terms or this particular four terms are common. Okay, these four terms are common. So we have taken common out of the bracket as T2 minus T1 multiplied by R1 multiplied by R2 divided by R2 minus R1. Okay, we have taken this common or out of the bracket, and inside bracket what will remain? Minus 1 upon R. From this particular first term, minus 1 upon R will remain, and from the second term, plus 1 upon R1 will remain. Okay, so we'll get the equation as T minus T1 is equal to T2 minus T1. We have taken common as T2 minus T1 multiplied by R1 multiplied by R2 divided by R2 minus R1. Inside bracket what is remain now? Minus 1 upon R plus 1 upon R1. Minus 1 upon R plus 1 upon R1. Minus 1 upon R plus 1 upon R1. Okay, so we'll get the equation, this particular equation, by taking the common outside the bracket. Okay, further we have to shift this T2 minus T1 on another side, and we have to perform the cross multiplication for the inside radius. For the bracket term, we have to perform the cross multiplication. So the equation we will get as after shifting the temperature terms on one side, so we will get the equation as T minus T1 divided by T2 minus T1, T minus T1 divided by T2 minus T1 is equal to is equal to, on the side from the outside bracket, what is remain? R1 multiplied by R2 divided by R2 minus R1. Okay. And if you perform the cross multiplication for the inside bracket, then R1 multiplied by -1 is minus R1, and R multiplied by 1 is plus R. Okay. And in the denominator, it is the multiplication of the denominator, that is R multiplied by R1. So inside bracket we will get as R minus R1 divided by R multiplied by R1. R minus R1 divided by R multiplied by R1. Okay. So the equation we will get this after transforming the temperature terms on one side and cross multiplication for the inside bracket. Okay, we'll get this equation. And if you rearrange this equation, okay, so here R1 in the numerator and R1 in the denominator. So this R1 and R1 will be cancelled. Okay, and we'll get the equation as T minus T1 divided by T2 minus T1 is equal to R minus R1 divided by R2 minus R1 multiplied by R2 divided by R. Okay. Remember this equation, T minus T1 divided by T2 minus T1 is equal to R minus R1 divided by R2 minus R1 multiplied by R2 divided by R. Okay. Is there any doubt, any question whether you understood this particular equation derivation? Now this equation is called as a temperature distribution equation associated with the radial conduction through sphere. Okay, temperature distribution equation associated with radial conduction through sphere. Is there any doubt, any question up till now? So what is the significance of this particular equation? Okay, so significance, as we have discussed in case of a cylinder, similar kind here, or in case of a plane wall, if you want to determine the intermediate temperature or the temperature profile or the variation of a temperature with respect to change in radius, that we can determine, or the change in radius or the thickness, that we can determine by using this particular equation. So if you know the sphere inside temperature as T1 and sphere outside temperature as a T2, okay, when radius is R1, at that time inside temperature is T1, and when radius is R2, that is outside surface temperature is T2. Okay, these are the known quantities, and T we have to determine at R radius. Okay, at any distance from the center, that is nothing but at R radius we have to determine the temperature. Okay, so that can be easily determined by using this particular equation. By using this equation, just we have to put up the temperatures, okay, and radius value, inside and outside radius values, and we can determine the temperature at R radius. Okay, at R radius means any radius within that particular object. Within that particular object we can determine. So this is the temperature distribution equation associated with radial conduction through sphere. Is there any doubt, any question? Is there any question, any doubt? Whether you understood how to determine the temperature distribution equation for spherical coordinate system? Whether you understood, please let me know in the chat box, or should I repeat the derivation? Please let me know. Is there any doubt, any question? Whether you understood or not? Okay, great. Great. Be attentive in the lectures and try to understand the derivations, because these are the most important part of our subject. Okay. Write down this. This is temperature distribution equation associated with the radial conduction through sphere. Now further, we have determined the temperature distribution equation. Now we have to determine the heat transfer for the hollow sphere. Okay, heat transfer for the hollow sphere. So heat transfer in a sphere. Okay, how it will be happening, or what will be the equation for the heat transfer in a sphere. Okay, so according to Fourier's law, we know that Q is equal to minus K multiplied by A multiplied by dt divided by dx. Now here the thickness, dx means what? The thickness. So thickness is represented in the form of a radius. So instead of dt divided by dx, we are using dt divided by dr. Okay, in a Fourier's law. So our equation for the Fourier's law is Q is equal to minus K multiplied by A multiplied by dt divided by dr. Okay. Now for the sphere, area can be given as 4 pi r square. Area is given as, or the surface area is given as 4 pi r square. Okay, 4 pi r square. Sphere area is 4 pi r square. Write down Fourier's law, heat transfer in a sphere. Give heading, subheading as heat transfer in a sphere. Heat transfer in a sphere. Fourier's law, according to the Fourier's law, Q is equal to minus K multiplied by A multiplied by dt divided by dr. Dt divided by dr. For sphere, area is equal to, for sphere, area is equal to 4 pi r square. For sphere, area is equal to 4 pi r square. So just put up instead of A in the equation, Fourier's equation as 4 pi r square. Okay, instead of area, we have to put up 4 pi r square. So the equation will become Q is equal to minus K multiplied by 4 pi r square multiplied by dt divided by dr. Okay, multiplied by dt divided by dr. Okay. Now further we have to rearrange this particular equation. Okay, by doing the variable separation, because we are going to take the integration of the equation. So for that reason, we have to perform the variable separation operation. So in that case, the variable r terms we have to take on one side, and dt term we have to keep on another side. Okay. So rearrange the equation. Write down, rearrange the equation or variable separation. So we will get the equation as Q multiplied by dr divided by r square. Q multiplied by dr divided by r square is equal to dr divided by r square is equal to minus 4 pi k multiplied by dt. Minus 4 pi k multiplied by dt. Okay. Now we have to integrate this equation with the limits. Okay. Limits are nothing but the extreme boundary condition. With the limits, that is nothing but with using the extreme boundary conditions. Okay. So when r1, when r is equal to r1, at that time t is equal to t1. When r is equal to r2, at that time t is equal to t2. So our limits for the radius are r1 to r2, and for the temperatures are t1 to t2. Okay. So apply the limits and integrate the equation. So integration with the limits r1 to r2 of q multiplied by dr divided by r square is equal to integration with the limits t1 to t2 of minus 4 pi k multiplied by dt. Minus 4 pi k multiplied by dt. Now we know that the integration of 1 upon r square. What is the integration of 1 upon r square? Integration of 1 upon r square is minus 1 upon r. Okay. Integration of 1 upon r square is minus 1 upon r. Okay. And integration of dt is t. Integration of dt is t. So q is the constant and minus 4 pi k is the constant. So you can take this out of the integration sign and you can integrate only dr divided by r square, and on the right side you can integrate only dt. Okay. So we'll get the equation as q, and the inside the square bracket minus 1 upon r is the integration of 1 upon r square. Okay. Minus 1 upon r is the integration of 1 upon r square. So integration of 1 upon r square we have written inside the bracket minus 1 upon r, and we have provided the limits r1, r2. Okay. Lower limit as a r1 and higher limit as a r2 is equal to minus 4 pi k as it is. Integration of dt is t, and the lower limit for this particular integration is t1, and the higher limit is t2. Okay. Higher limit is t2. Now just put up the limits inside the bracket. So higher limit minus lower limit. In such a manner we have to take the limits. higher limit minus lower limit, and we have to take that limit for the integration. Okay, so first of all, we have taken the higher limit and we have applied the higher limit for the integration. So minus 1 upon r. So instead of r, we can take r2. So minus 1 upon r2. Okay, now minus lower limit. Okay, higher limit minus lower limit. So minus minus will become plus, and lower limit is r1. So it will becomes 1 upon r1. It will becomes 1 upon r1. It will becomes 1 upon r1. And similarly, on the right hand side, it will becomes equal to minus 4 pi k. We have taken the higher limit as t2 and lower limit as t1. So higher limit minus lower limit, it will becomes t2 minus t1. It will becomes t2 minus t1. So we'll get the equation as q inside the bracket minus 1 upon r2 plus 1 upon r1 bracket complete equal to minus 4 pi k inside the bracket t2 minus t1 inside the bracket t2 minus t1. Getting everyone? How we are taking the integration with the limits? Is there any doubt, any question? So write down this equation after integration. Over. Now further, we have to perform the cross multiplication for the bracket radius. Okay, so r1 multiplied by minus r1, minus 1 will become minus r1, and r2 multiplied by plus 1 will become plus r2, and the denominator multiplication as r2 multiplied by r1. So we'll get the equation as q is equal to r2 minus r1 divided by r2 multiplied by r1 is equal to 4 pi k t1 minus t2. Now here what we have done, we have taken this negative sign inside the bracket. We have taken this negative sign inside the bracket. So when you take this negative sign inside the bracket, plus t2 become minus t2 and minus t1 will become plus t1. So that our equation, so temperature will be t1 minus t2. Just we have taken the negative sign inside the bracket. So that we will get the equation as q into bracket r2 minus r1 whole divided by r2 multiplied by r1 is equal to 4 pi k into bracket t1 minus t2. Now we require the equation in the form of heat transfer. Just rearrange the term in the form of a q. We'll get the heat transfer equation for the sphere. Okay, just we have transferred this particular bracket on another side so that the equation will be converted into in the form of a heat transfer. So q as a heat transfer will be equal to 4 pi k multiplied by r1 multiplied by r2 inside bracket t1 minus t2 whole divided by r2 minus r1 whole divided by r2 minus r1 whole divided by r2 minus r1. Okay, getting everyone? So this is the important equation we required for the solving of the problem, for solving the problems. Okay, q is equal to 4 pi k multiplied by r1 multiplied by r2 inside bracket t1 minus t2 whole divided by r2 minus r1. Now if you apply the electrical analogy for this particular equation, okay, q is analogous to current. Okay, heat transfer is analogous to current, temperature difference is analogous to potential difference, then resistance should be on the denominator, or remaining part is nothing but a resistance and it should be on the denominator side. Okay, on the denominator side. So for that reason we have to shift the remaining part than the temperature in the numerator to the denominator side, So if you shift this, we'll get the equation as q is equal to t1 minus t2 whole divided by r2 minus r1 divided by 4 pi k multiplied by r1 multiplied by r2. 4 pi k multiplied by r1 multiplied by r2. Now I is analogous to q, t1 minus t2 is analogous to dV, that is the potential difference, is analogous to the temperature difference, and the numerator side, remaining denominator side is nothing but the thermal resistance for that particular object, thermal resistance for the object. Okay, so that we can write Q is equal to T1 minus T2 whole divided by RTH sphere, that is the thermal resistance of a sphere. Thermal resistance of a sphere. And what is thermal resistance, which is equal to R2 minus R1 divided by 4 pi K multiplied by R1 multiplied by R2. Getting everyone? Is there any question, any doubt? And you can write further as the thermal resistance equation. RTH sphere is equal to R2 minus R1 4 pi K R1 multiplied by R2. Is there any doubt, any question? Whether you understood how to determine the temperature distribution equation and how to determine the heat transfer equation for the hollow sphere. Also, we have discussed how to determine the thermal resistance for the sphere. Okay, thermal resistance for the sphere. Is there any doubt, any question? If not, you can put up your roll numbers in the chat box and you can join another meeting.